What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the WBC lightweight world title fight that took place last night in Newark, New Jersey between Shakur Stevenson and Harutyunyan. Guys, Shakur Stevenson did little to sway his naysayers about his style. Love him or hate him, he improves his record to 22-0 with 10 knockouts. He took on Harutyunyan, who was coming off a loss to Frank Martin, and a lot of the experts were predicting that Harutyunyan would lose via decision. Shakur won the fight 11 rounds to 1. I actually gave him every round except the first round. He did fight Harutyunyan in a different style. He moved way less. He circled left to right way less and stayed in the pocket way more. Before we break down these stats, I'd like to say that one of the things that Shakur could have done better last night was take advantage of the opportunities when he had Artem hurt. Those moments happened in the mid-rounds, round 4, round 5, round 6. Shakur was hurting Harutyunyan to the body. From the fight I was watching, it seemed that Shakur didn't recognize those moments when to jump on his opponent and when to attack to get him out of there. And as those moments passed and the fight went into the later rounds, Harutyunyan started believing more and more that he belonged with Shakur, and by round 7, round 8, round 9, it was pretty evident that Shakur wasn't going to get him out of there. So all in all, the fight against De Los Santos, Shakur was running a lot more. He didn't do that against Harutyunyan. So the beef and the response to Shakur's performance is still going to be said as lackluster due to not getting the knockout. He stayed in the pocket much more, threw much more power shots, and landed much more shots. But when you're fighting a guy who's ranked 48th in the world, your naysayers are going to expect you to get him out of there. He is ranked number 2 in the world at lightweight, right behind Tank Davis. That division is super exciting. I should also mention William Zepeda had an impressive knockout last night to improve his record to 31-0 with 27 knockouts. And now you have at 135 pounds some exciting matchups to think about. Tank, Loma, Shakur, Zepeda, where do all these pieces fall into place? Time will tell on those fights that need to be made. I know Shakur wants a Loma fight, Shakur wants a Tank fight. Loma allegedly tweeted last night that he would step aside to let Shakur fight Tank, and then he would fight the winner in 2025. We'll see if that plays out, but for now, let's take a look at those stats. To recap the fight in a sentence, Shakur Stevenson cruised to a one-sided victory over Harutyunyan, who landed single-digit punches in 11 of 12 rounds. Shakur landed 44% of his power shots and hurt Artem several times to the body with 66 of those shots landed, but he couldn't get the much needed knockout. When we look at the jabs thrown throughout the fight overall, Shakur throws 162 and lands 44 at a 27% clip. Harutyunyan threw 112 and landed 17 at a 15% clip. Shakur Stevenson was using the jab last night as a way to get Artem's respect, but keep his footwork and keep his balance positioned in the middle of the ring. He did that way better last night than he looked against Edwin De Los Santos. He said he fought Edwin one-handed, and like I always say, a world champion at the highest level, I tend to believe them when they talk about they go into fights injured. He looked way different in terms of the aggression against Harutyunyan, and you got to see that just where his feet were and his placement of his feet throughout the entire fight, and he used his jab to set his feet up to stay in the pocket throughout that fight. Now let's take a closer look at the power shots. Throughout the entirety of the fight, Shakur Stevenson threw 284 power punches, landing 126 at a 44% clip. Harutyunyan threw 311, landing only 57 at an 18% clip. So Harutyunyan throws more but lands less. Once again, Harutyunyan throughout the fight, his jabs, his power punches, and overall punch percentage was weighed down. Why? We know Shakur Stevenson is the hardest guy to hit in pro boxing. I didn't make that up. CompuBox did a statistical equation a few weeks back, and they listed the top 10 fighters with over 10 fights, and Shakur was number 1. We know he's hard to get hit. With Harutyunyan, where Harutyunyan was failing wasn't his harder effort. All of that was there. It was just the skill set, and we knew that going in. From a skills perspective, feint, speed, reaction time, Shakur Stevenson is one of the best in the world. Where he could work on things, obviously, people want to see knockouts. People are bloodthirsty. And until Shakur Stevenson turns into a knockout artist, which who knows if that'll ever happen, highly unlikely at this stage of his career, he's always going to have the doubters. But as long as he keeps on winning, he'll always have that last word. Now let's take a closer look at the overall punches throughout the fight. Final punch stat overall for both guys, Shakur Stevenson threw 446 punches, landing 170 at a 38% clip. Harutyunyan threw 423, landing 74 at an 18% clip. And like we said, when you're landing 18% of your punches against a guy like Shakur, it's tough to do good work. of the 12 rounds, I only saw Harutyunyan land a couple good punches throughout the entire fight, and that was because Shakur chose to stay in the pocket, opposite of what he did against De Los Santos. You could tell Shakur listens to the doubters and the hate. On his shorts last night, he even had the word Twitterson, referencing Edwin De Los Santos calling him Shakira Twitterson, and also how he fought Harutyunyan. He knew early on, right off the bat, Harutyunyan wasn't going to be able to hurt him, so he didn't want to circle left or right. He stayed in the pocket as much as he could, and you saw evidence of that in between the third and fourth round. Shakur's corner, Wally Moses, actually having to use the end swell on his cheekbones because he was getting slight swelling under both eyes. Nothing noticeable enough to even say there was any damage. And like I said, other than a few exchanges in the pocket, Shakur didn't even get hit. His overall performance, when you think about him having an opponent like Harutyunyan hurt and not going for the kill, I think that's the narrative that people should be talking about. It wasn't like Shakur ran. These guys aren't scared of each other. A pro athlete in any sport doesn't play or perform with the word fear in their ethos. I think it's all about Shakur recognizing these moments in a fight because they are fleeting. Guys recover super quickly. It shows, and that's a testament to how much in shape these guys are. So looking back, I like Shakur to be a little bit more aware when he has these moments and then pounce. And at 27 years old, he just turned 27. I think we could expect him to get better at this throughout his career, noticing these moments and then going for the kill. Now, what's next for Shakur? I don't have these answers. There are a plethora of fights and matchups to talk about. We'll do that at a later date. For now, we'll stick to the statistics. What do you think of Shakur's last performance against Harutyunyan? What do you think about the decision? I think he won 11 out of the 12 rounds. I gave Artem the first round, but from there, it was a whitewash, completely outclassed in terms of skill set. All in all, leave your opinions in the comment section below.